Hi, everyone. Welcome to this conversation with this wonderful panel of Sweden representing panelists that are going to be talking a little bit about what they have found that was interesting, what stood out, maybe some trends, and some of their favorite contributions in the Gerety Awards. My name is Marie Alani. I'm the Executive Dean at Berg School of Communication based here in Stockholm. And I will let all the panelists introduce themselves briefly. Emma, would you like to start?
Yeah, my name is Emma Eriksson. I'm a creative director working independently with both local and global clients based in Stockholm. I had the pleasure to be the jury president for this group of people from the Scandinavian countries.
Thank you. Helena?
Hi, I'm Helena. I'm Global Head of Creative at a Swedish founded agency called Twigio. We work towards the US, so work mainly with US brands.
Thank you. Elena?
Hi, and I'm Alina. I'm a global brand strategist at Volvo, and I'm actually working in between creative and strategist. So I haven't really figured it out yet, but I think both should work together really well here in Stockholm.
Thanks. And Silla?
Hi, my name is Silla. I'm based in Stockholm. What am I nowadays? I guess I am a brand advisor, also working in between strategy and creative. Yeah.
Great. All right, then we know who's in the room, in the digital room. So this is a session which I'm super excited about because it's kind of like being a fly on the wall to hear your thoughts and things that have you been thinking about when you've been looking at the work this year. So I would like to do just a round and hear all of your maybe one or two standouts or favorites that you found. Elena, would you like to start by sharing maybe like one or two of your favorite pieces of work in this jury session?
Yeah, and I have thought of that a lot because I think we have very similar ones. So I'm picking choosily. I'm really happy you chose me first. No, but one of my favorites is called Sheep Happened. It's a German campaign from Penny where suddenly a bunch of sheep went into a Penny supermarket and took over the supermarket, which is, in the first place, you think it's a crisis, crisis happening. The second Penny was like, oh, wait a minute, we can turn this into like a really fun campaign. And that's what they did. And they went all out. So they didn't stop anywhere. They produced music videos of the sheeps. They had mock shogs on the sheeps. They went all out and they had so much fun with it. It gained so much PR value and everybody seemed to just love those sheep and Penny. So that's definitely one of my favorites.
Great. Silla, how about you? Was there another one that stood out for you or that you had as one of your favorites?
Yeah, I think that there were so many inspiring cases in the moment category. And one of them that really stood out, I think, was the Kit Kat heist. That was about just before Easter, a truck loaded with chocolate was stolen. And that was also a thing that could have become a really, really supply chain crisis. I mean, a lot of stores were waiting for the chocolate. People were waiting for their Easter candy. And instead of like making that a crisis, they turned that into a moment. When the whole world started to talk about the crazy thing that a truck full of chocolate was stolen. People started to make jokes about it, of course. It sounded like a Willy Wonka thing. And Kit Kat was quick on launching I don't know what we call a code that you could code tracker was the name of it, where you could actually on your chocolate bars check out if they were stolen. And that got people crazy. They bought chocolate and they checked this codes on their bars. So everyone was participating in that huge hunt for the burglars. And that was really, really, really fun.
That's a fun one. Helena, how about you? Do you have a one or two favorites that haven't already been mentioned?
Oh yeah, I do. One that really appealed to me is called Fire Catchers, and it's like a very platform specific idea. So it was on Twitch, the gaming platform, and turned Twitch viewers into volunteer wildfire lookouts. So when they were waiting for their game to start, instead of like having the starting soon screen, they instead had a screen where they streamed or live streamed forests, high risks forests in France, and so they become fire watchers trying to detect wildfires. And I'm just a sucker for those kind of ideas. When it's very platform specific, it's a win-win because the viewers are just waiting for something to start, and instead they actually get to do something that is for a good cause. I also really like that in the case video, they said that this idea had traveled after and it's about to launch in Greece and a couple other markets, which means that it's actually changing existing behaviors and that you use time that otherwise could be wasted, where people usually look at their cell phone or whatever they do, or smartphone or whatever they're doing. So for me, it was just an idea with so many great things brought together. Loved it.
Thank you. And Emma, how about you? What's something,
Yeah.
one or two things that stood out for you?
I mean, a lot of those things that we already talked about, obviously, so many great campaigns, but one of my favorite campaigns was the Dad Shift. Their idea was called Things That Last Longer Than Paternity Leave. And the reason I liked it was that it was so very close to home. So to educate everybody about how short paternity leave actually is, they compared it to other things that actually lasted longer than paternity leave. So it could be like a carton of milk, it could be eggs, it could be like a head of lettuce, and all of those things you actually have. Like you go to the grocery store and you go and buy those things, and it just becomes so obvious that time is too short. And it was just like a new, fun way to tell people about this really like unfortunate matter, and also be able to start conversations in people's everyday life. So I thought it was really smart and simple and super relatable. Another favorite was the Bound Book project, and maybe somebody else is going to talk about that. I don't know.
Now go
Let
ahead.
me tell you. No, I really liked it because it was so, it was just like a classic example of dig where you stand, where you use the craft of bookmaking itself to make the issue tangible and generate attention to the fact that people are actually burning books and forbidding books. So I thought it was really powerful in that way.
So I had like a few things I'm hearing you guys say. It was like things that are a bit fun and that stick out because they kind of make you laugh or that they give you some humor. Things that have some meaning and substance to the message. That's something that's a little bit more serious, maybe as an undertone, or that's educational in some way. And then also like the responsiveness, right? Like smart way to respond to a crisis or to a specific kind of pressing situation like wildfires. And that these are all things though that I think start conversations that make people want to share it or talk about it or, you know, tell somebody else about it at work. Sounds like to me like kind of a little bit of common threads here in the ones that you've now named as some examples of your favorites. But are there any other sort of trends or commonalities that you've found while judging this year's entries? Has there been something that stood out from a trend perspective or something that you've seen recurring in different ways?
I mean, I believe that this way of thinking moments, capturing a moment that is really happening, I believe that is something that has been going on for a while, but I think that many more companies and agencies and so have been better on like having their little light on to always check what's going on and trying to see those moments. And I think that's such a great way to make a lot for a little. I mean, some of them, one favorite was the Louvre promo code. That was, I mean, there was a big burglary at the Louvre, and all around the world, the news spread that the security camera password had been Louvre. And then a smart company took that and made it into a promo code, a company that sold security cameras, and they released that campaign with only one tweet or a social post saying something. I actually captured it here because I think it was so great. Actually, a great copywriter was behind it, I believe. They said, the company was Leroy Merlin, and they said, imagine if the worst password for security cameras could be a promo code to get security cameras. Just kidding, but imagine. So they didn't even tell it, and that was the only thing they did. And then it kept rolling.
Yeah, that was a great one.
Yeah, and zero budget. They got like a lot of
someone, yeah, a great writer, write a couple of words, and that's it.
Yeah.
Mm. How about anybody else? Any sort of trends or things that you've seen recurring, or something that's been a common thread?
I think one thing that we at least discussed a lot in the jury room was that it really matters if it is a stunt or if it isn't, if it has a purpose, if we believe that people actually used it or that it was beneficial to someone somehow. And I think most of the ideas were that we were discussing. So I think that was, at least for me, a great discussion, because it's not enough to just do things that are gimmicky in that sense. So yeah, that was something that I feel that we have. I mean, some years ago, it felt different because it was more stunts like that. Now it felt a little bit more purposeful in a way.
And also, if they were stunty, like they were like sheep happens, shit happens was another one which really similar. It's very funny as well. If they were like their nature was really stunty, but then they went all out, like they didn't stop even when they could have stopped, but they went all out, like both what Silla said, the Kit Kat heist and Sheep Happens, they just never stopped, and that was the greatness with it. So that is, and it's so simple that you could just tell whatever market to go and run with their own version of it and would still be compliant. So I think that was very obvious for me, that those were the ones that we all loved.
Yeah, I think it's just the fact to be that close to the moments and culture, and knowing how to use it, so the tone is right, so that it feels fun, or it feels relevant to the audience, or useful in some way. I think that's the difference between acting on something current and inventing something that is a stunt that nobody really asked for and nobody really wants. So just to be able to craft the communication in a very elegant way and transform it into advertising has been a lot better over time, and we can see the effects of that now.
And one thing, just a small thing that I was thinking of, is that I had just assumed you would see so much AI ideas, and we have seen that in those ones, but the ones that we shortlisted and talked mostly about were very careful of the use of AI, and even in the case video. So I think that is also, I don't know if it's a trend, but it's really of a very careful use of AI, because I think all of us are so, on it directly when it is feels not non-authentic, and just using AI when it's smart and not using AI when it's not there. So I think that is also a bit of it.
Interesting. Do you think, so several of you mentioned or touched on sort of the being culturally relevant in the moment and being responsive in that sense. Do you see if there's a difference or if there's been any kind of shift this year from more of a responsive based on what's happening already in the culture versus trying to kind of create culture, if you see the difference? Do you have examples of both, or has there been more of a lean towards one or the other? Is it more responsive, or is there more creating the culture through the brands? Is it something you discussed?
It's a good question, but we have only seen two categories, so it's difficult to answer it. But I think the campaign that Elena mentioned, Shit Happens, is close to creating culture and creating a piece of work that people find super entertaining and unexpected and also relevant, based in a real insight. So I mean, yeah, I don't know actually if there's more of one thing or more of the other thing, but I think we as advertising creatives, we're getting better of picking up on culture and creating culture as well, and avoiding when it's not, nobody asked for it, it's not necessary, and it's just a stunt. Because usually that doesn't really pay off anyway. So I think we got better of doing it.
Yeah. I'd like to say too that brands are more into culture and understand the value of tapping into culture and use the moments when they have a chance. I don't know if that's true, but at least we saw some of it in the jury, where it made sense to make a thing about it. The Kit Kat that was mentioned, the cheap penny with the cheaps. Like, it was a few that we felt like, they really acted on something.
So any interesting debates or something that surprised you as you were looking at this year's work? Are there anything that emerged in your discussions that would be interesting for us flies on the wall to listen to or to understand?
I think there was one thing that we discussed most, was that there is this invisible line of good work for a good cause, and it's still being, an advertising or a marketing or PR campaign. So, and this visible line is very different for different people, what's okay and what's not. We discussed that with the Vehicle of Hope campaign, for example. We discussed that a lot. A lot of people liked that campaign, obviously, because, hello, the Pope wrote back almost to the response, like that's a once in a lifetime campaign. Those, like, that visible line is what we discussed a lot, like what's okay for a brand to do, and at the same time trying to sell something.
Anything else that kind of, was there anything that was a heated part of the discussion where people disagreed a lot?
I mean, a little bit. I think it's interesting that everybody comes from different places and you have different things that trigger you. And we had a conversation about like gaming platforms as a more than ever common media platform to do something within a game. Like, oh God, how are we a little bit tired about that? Haven't we seen it been done so many times? But then again, it's now it's just it's a platform to use, and it's huge, so it makes sense. But for some people, that was triggering or tiresome, and then for me, it was like another typeface to like always just create. The idea is to create the typeface. And for some other jury member, it was like, oh my God, I wish they just didn't have done a book because I don't want to see a book in 2026. So I think we all come from different places where we have we bring some luggage, and that is also informing your decisions. But then when you have the discussion, you can kind of figure out if it's still relevant and if it's a good idea for that purpose. And then sometimes you change your mind. So that was And I think that's usually the case in all juries that has a good conversation, and that you're allowed to change your mind, and you're also allowed to voice your opinion, even if it's personal.
Mm.
What was interesting as well, I think that we were in the beginning, everyone was a little bit more rational. We tried to be like very senseful and so on. And in the end, we were like, what the heck? A lot is about fun is fun. Did I feel something? I mean, the shit happens idea were first, I think we were a little bit shy first to say that that actually was an idea, or then we all realized we just loved the craft. It was so beautifully done that we couldn't kind of avoid it, and we all sang the song.
Yeah, that was
Is there like some sort of Nordic gaze, do you think, a little bit? I mean, this has been a jury that's, you know, I mean, you're all Stockholm based, for example, and had Nordic perspective. Is that something that you think maybe is different in your group compared to other countries or other regions, other markets?
I think it was quite diverse for being Nordic. Like people came from different places, even though they represented the Nordics. So I think, or I would say, it was a good global sort of view on things. Like obviously, most were Nordic, but a lot of people had different backgrounds. But I think what I think the Nordic view would be is like that we see through the bullshit a lot, even though we love the shit happens campaign a lot. But yes, I think that's like really just like, no, this is not real. The authenticity, I think, I would guess is something that is valued really high within the Nordic countries. But again, like it was a very global representation of the Nordics.
No, I agree. I think we're a little bit picky. I also think at times the Nordics, we can be a little bit politically correct, which is not always beneficial for the advertising in itself, because sometimes it's just about getting someone's attention or doing something for fun, right? So, I mean, that might be one of the things that sets us apart, at least from other juries.
Yeah, and I mean, if you get someone to laugh or cry, you kind of won. That's always a winner, because you can't escape it. It just gets to you. So I think that's the case for everybody working creatively in the whole world.
I mean, there's certain pillars I think you've all mentioned around storytelling and being responsive and being smart, but also using humor that are universal for sure. If you we're almost out of time, but if you were all to give one piece of advice to next year's round that you would hope to see in a year from now, let's say, when you're looking at next year's campaigns and things that have come out, what is one thing that you feel feels really relevant, and all the things that you've mentioned that you would love to see in a year from now? Doesn't have to be a specific brand, but just if there's something, if it's an emotion or if it's something political or something completely different, what is one thing that you would like to send off to the world of creatives that are working in advertising?
I think go all out, not with just PR campaigns, but also paid campaigns. Like have that one thought and carry it out fully. I think that is the hardest thing to do, but it's the most rewarding thing as well.
So go all in.
Please do.
Yeah, and also don't be afraid to be unexpected. I think that's always when you see something that you haven't seen before, that feels maybe a little bit too much or sometimes too little, or when it stands out, it always works on me at least.
And I would say care for the craft. I mean, even though if the idea is writing a single tweet, get the blood damn copywriter to write that tweet.
Yeah. And I'd love to see in work for good specifically, but great use of AI for a good cause, because I do think It's a lot of sloppiness out there, and we don't really always use AI to the what it can do for good. So I think that would be interesting for sure.
So all great advice, I would say, for all creatives out there watching who are wanting to get into the shortlist, at least in the Gerety Awards. So speaking of the shortlist, which will be released tomorrow morning at 9, for those of you who are curious to see what the jury has decided on. Thank you so much to Helena, Elena, Sila, and Emma for taking the time to share some of your thoughts and your discussions. I'm super excited to see the results of all these discussions. Thank you so much,
Marie.
for those of you who've watched, and to be continued.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.